Hey, Park. I just wanted to ask you a few questions about your story. And the first one being, where did your fitness journey start?
My journey started when I was in high school.
How old were you at the time?
I was 16.
What were your daily habits like?
My habits were just kind of gaming with my buddies or just making art for the most part.
What did your day to day life look like?
My day to day was I would primarily just go to school, then go home or to the gym, but I'd play a lot of video games because video games, it didn't hurt. And it was much easier to do that than anything else.
How did you feel about yourself?
How did I feel about myself? I felt horrible. I felt horrible about myself because it hurt or didn't feel good to do any physical activity. I I played sports off and on, but it was hard for me due to uh, everything with my body. I had chronic pain in my joints, my back, my core, and I was larger. And my heaviest was over 300 pounds. I was very insecure about my weight, and I wasn't eating the way I needed to, and so I felt horrible and really horrible around food. I was nervous about social activities, so I stayed away from them a lot. I often felt like I had to say no to being invited to do activities and physical activities because I couldn't perform. And I also had extremely low energy levels. It was always tough. And that lack of energy, it hurt my motivation and it pushed me into a depression. It was tough.
What made you want to pursue change?
What made me want to pursue change was I wanted to pursue change because my doctors always told me this was the life I was stuck with. And there wasn't anything they could really do. My chronic pain was so severe that morphine, painkillers, other medications and drugs didn't touch me. And so I couldn't really rely on a scapegoat for my pain and discomfort. And I was also extremely overweight for my age, and my doctors told me I would develop more health complications if I didn't lose weight. But I wasn't going to settle for my doctors telling me this was just the life I had to live, even though it hurt to move. My body sometimes hurt so badly I was literally stuck in bed. I still got to work because I refused to believe I couldn't change how I felt.
If it was a specific moment, can you describe it as vividly as possible? How did you feel in that moment?
I was at the hospital after some tests. I had zero stomach lining left, was in severe pain throughout my entire body, especially in joints, stomach, back. And my doctor told me there wasn't much that could be done except for like getting my diet under control due to my celiac disease and losing weight to prevent further complications. I felt completely defeated, and my childhood had been filled with hospital visits because my autoimmune disease was constantly destroying my body, making me sick all the time, stealing my mobility, and leaving me in lots of pain. It stole so much of my life, not allowing me to do the things I wanted to do. And I truly was defeated, but that woke something up in me. I refused to accept that the rest of my life had to be spent in pain, be drained 24/7 and unable to move, and living a life I didn't want to. That wasn't in the cards for me.
So, what was your biggest motivation?
My biggest motivation was simply to just be able to say yes. And what I mean is that I wanted to do whatever I wanted, whenever I wanted. And if I was invited on a hike to the pool or any event, really, I wanted to be able to say yes because I hadn't been able to do so for so long. It required me to feel good and be physically and mentally able to do so. And so that became my drive. And so saying yes.
What was your goal at the moment? And it's likely your goals have changed over time.
My goal was to get my pain down to a manageable level so it wouldn't hold me back from doing things. But it evolved into being far better than I could have ever imagined. And it continues to change.
So, what did your first workout look like?
My first workout, it felt so useless. I was in pain before I even started. And it was, at first, it just felt hard and like I wasn't doing anything right. And since I didn't fully know what I was doing, it seemed like I was just adding to the pain. But once I finished, I got a small sense that I was doing something good for myself. And that was extremely rewarding, even though it was so small at the time.
What were your biggest challenges when you got started?
Biggest challenges was starting and wanting to work out while also not knowing really what to do for the most part, and being a beginner with what felt like a million roadblocks. It was easily the hardest part. I mean, granted, I was in so much pain as well. It was tough all around.
What habits did you change?
The biggest change I made was reducing my sedentary time. I broke up time at my desk with small movement breaks. And especially during COVID, once that hit, when I was trapped in my room, I still got up. I walked around and moved, even if it was super small. I also converted my room into a gym so that when I finished my studies, I had no excuse not to work out, even for a little while. Another habit I built, and where this all started, was studying the human body and the mind every night before bed, and to learn how to improve my quality of life. And it grew into a passion, which was great.
Which was the hardest?
The hardest part was the first 2-week hump and staying accountable and consistent. I was doing this all on my own and keeping to myself and keeping myself accountable while my body felt like it was working against me. It was tough. I had to remind myself I wanted to get better, reclaim my life, and create a better one. Building that habit and consistency at the start was very hard.
Did you have any setbacks?
Setbacks? I had tons of setbacks. I'd get really bad flare-ups all the time before I had everything under control, and just due to my chronic pain, which made me wonder if what I was doing was helping at all. And I'd get extremely frustrated and want to quit because it was easy. It was easy to quit, but I didn't let myself. There's so many difficult things about it, but sticking with it was also very hard, but I'm so grateful that I did.
Where did you get most of your information from?
Where I got all my information from was, at first, I searched the internet for peer-reviewed articles on fitness and chronic pain, watched videos on exercises, and looked into documentaries, anything I could find. Even some information that contradicted itself, I was still learning and could spot consistencies across sources. And that further grew into certifications, a certification at university, and studying at a university level, working within this realm for years as well. So it continuously evolves.
What was your first big win?
My first big win was a combination of two realizations. One morning I woke up and I felt heavy, but in a different way. My back wasn't just in pain, it was sore. Not that it felt great. It was different. That morning I realized two things that shaped my philosophy forever. I had replaced chronic pain with soreness, which was much better. And the other one is that medicine, that your body is the best medicine on the planet. By moving, lifting, doing cardio, and limiting sedentary time, I was able to feel relief that no drug had ever given me. ever. That was the biggest win of all time. And it showed me the start of the life I've always dreamed of. And it was great.
What things did you do at the start of your journey that you do differently now?
What I would do different, I mean, so many things. Back then, I had an extremely strict diet. I exercised privately at home, did the same exercises for months without change, focused heavily on cardio, did mostly isolation movements, and trained as long as I could every day. Once I moved into weightlifting, I let ego just take my weights. And now I eat within healthy moderation. I train wherever I want, change my routine every 4 to 8 weeks, combine mobility, cardio, functional training, and strength work with progressive overload. Balance compound lifting and isolation lifts, take proper rest days, and train for a healthy amount of time. And it's much, much better. I mean, I couldn't have known that at the beginning.
What do you wish you would have done differently from the beginning?
Honestly, a lot. I mean, I wish I had a healthier relationship with food instead of extreme restriction. I should have allowed myself moderation. I should have focused on a balanced workout routine instead of just hammering cardio. And I should have started smaller and mastered the basics instead of jumping at 100% and risking setbacks, which happened all the time. And I also wish I had slowed down my exercises, especially on the eccentrics, to get more out of them.
What was the biggest lesson you learned?
Biggest lesson by far: forget your ego. Form and execution are far more important than any amount of weight you can lift. You can often get the same or even better results from lifting with less weight. With proper form and proper time under tension, it makes a world of a difference.
What are some protocols you used to follow in the past that you wouldn't now?
One of the big ones is static stretching before my workouts. I used to do it every single day before training, which actually increased my risk of injury. And now I warm up with dynamic stretches, and I save static stretching for after my workouts. And that was one of the big things. I got injured all the time due to my lack of knowledge at my younger age, and it gave me a lot of setbacks, a lot of frustrations. I mean, I had tons and tons of injuries due to just, like I said earlier, jumping into things 100% before really anchoring down the basics. And I like to call it, the scaffolding of exercise. It's your form, execution of the movement itself before you really try to climb in weight. Once I was consistent with everything, I mean, it was like, all right, let's pound on a bunch of weight. And I just increased it too fast. And granted, I learned, but that's one of the big things. There's tons more. Thanks for listening to just a little snippet of some of my story. That's a very small amount of it. It's a big Spark Notes version. I have a lot more to share and talk about in my own personal testimonial to what I'm going to be doing here at Regain Fitness. I'm super excited to be launching my Regain Fitness business, where I want to help people with chronic pain, help you with movement, mobility, make you be able to just kind of say yes, like what I said. That was my biggest goal. I want to be the guy that I wish I always had around, because I had so many roadblocks and I was just always in so much pain. And the biggest thing about it is people are always looking for a big quick fix, and I'm here to help manage and help you progress. And that'll be one of the biggest things. And if that's something that you want to give a shot, something that you're interested in, or just have questions about, I mean, please reach out. And if you're interested in one-on-one coaching, either text me, click the link in my bio for filling out that form on my website, or anything. And even if you're not interested in one-on-one coaching, I got a bunch of resources and information for you, and I love to talk about this stuff. I mean, this is a passion of mine, and so reach out or just stick around, see what I got for you here on Instagram. All this stuff will be free, and yeah, thank you very much.